Today on Eagle Nation News, Cameron Silva hits the halls of Prosper High School to find out how well those history classes are paying off and if students truly know the First Amendment.
Later in the show, Kelly Trin sits down with Caleb Cox and Connor Blasingame to discuss how they got into motocross and what preparation goes into a race. And Nick Anderson will be in studio with Mr. Stevens discussing this year's homecoming dance more in depth. How formal is this year's dance and what can we expect?
All this and more today on Eagle Nation News.
Live from Prosper, Texas, this is Eagle Nation News.
Good morning, Prosper High School. Today is Wednesday, September 27th. I'm Jake Fine.
I'm Caitlin Wessels.
And I'm Casey Boston.
Yesterday, we went into the topic of feminism and its prominence in other countries. That movement seems to have paid off as Saudi Arabia made some major women's suffrage progress. Casey?
Although there were protests decades ago over the women's driving ban, it was finally announced yesterday from Saudi Arabia that they will be allowing women to drive starting in June of 2018. It's believed that the new policy will allow women to have more participation in the workplace, helping the economy.
Donations for Cash for Cancer started today and will continue until October 25th. Each grade level has a bucket for donations, and the grade that raises the most money during this donation period will win a movie trip on November 17th.
Now we send it over to Cameron Silva, who is in the halls of the high school to see how well Prosper students know the First Amendment.
So according to the Washington Times, 37% of Americans actually can't name all 5 parts of the First Amendment off the top of their head. I hit the halls today to see if this statement was actually accurate, and the results were shocking. Can you tell me, what are the 5 parts of the First Amendment?
I have no clue. Freedom of speech, freedom of, I don't know, because I'm not from the U.S., so...
That's a fair excuse, 5 parts of the First Amendment.
The what?
Well, there's the first part, and then that is followed closely by the second part.
Speech, religion, press.
Sir.
Ooh, it's hard. Peaceful protests. I don't know the last one. Okay.
Then the fourth. Now this is the tricky. Right after is the fifth.
After the, okay.
Right after the fourth.
After the fourth.
But 2 after the third, though.
Okay.
And 4 after the first.
Religious, freedom of speech.
Okay.
That's 2, right?
It's 2.
I don't know.
Tell me all 5 parts of the First Amendment.
I couldn't tell you one.
Well, looks like some students here at Prosper High School needed to refresh their constitutional rights. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Cameron Silva. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Cameron. After this commercial break, Kelly Trin highlights Caleb Cox and Connor Blasingame's unique sport.
Thursday's weather is going to be nice and cool with a high of 79 and a low of 63. There's also going to be a 20% chance of rain. For your fast forecast, I'm Max Hamilton.
Connor Blasingame and Caleb Cox are just like most Prosper students. They wake up in the morning, come to school, and do their work. But what sets them apart is what they do after. Kelly Trin traveled with them both to the dirt track to find out a little more about their sport.
Through winding trails with hills and sharp turns, motocross, one of the most injury-prone sports in the world, has 2 Prosper students in love with the thrill.
First race when I was 6, I got to take off my training wheels for that race, and I was faster than everyone.
Went over to Caleb's house, and I saw his bike, and it was cool, and I liked it, and I wanted to try it.
Blasingame has only been riding for a short period of time, but has quickly stepped up to the challenge.
My favorite part about motocross is hitting a jump for the first time because of the adrenaline rush that you get. It's always rewarding when you win, and it'll encourage you to keep going.
Connor is not the only member in his family who has encountered the sport. His father, Lanny Cox, brought it to the table at a young age.
My dad's Lanny Cox. He's an ex-professional motocross racer, and he raced for Team Kawasaki. My dad, he raced, and he got me a dirt bike, and that's how I started. In a race this summer, it was raining really bad, and I was about to finish the race, and I looped at the face of the jump and went over my handlebars.
Motocross racing may not just be any simple sport, but Connor and Caleb are in for the long haul. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Kelly Trin.
Thank you, Kelly. After this commercial break, Nick Anderson is in studio with Mr. Stevens to talk more about this year's homecoming dance.
If you like to write or create art and would like to be published, stop by the library to find out more about the Anthology Project. Deadline for submissions is Friday, September 29th. It's time to order Homecoming Mums and Garters, sponsored by the Prosper Tennis Teams. You can custom order any mum or garter through the Mum Shop in Plano. There will be samples at all lunches starting September 21st. To audition for the Prosper High School Talent Show, sign up on September 28th during Eagle Time. Auditions are during the school day on October 4th.
With homecoming right around the corner, we have Nick Anderson in studio to talk to Mr. Stevens about the dress code for this homecoming dance.
Thank you, Casey. I'm in studio with Mr. Stevens. Mr. Stevens, help me out. I have no idea what to wear to homecoming.
You're dressed perfect. It's a formal dress, so coat, slacks, belt, button-up shirt. Could have a tie on, but you look great.
Thank you so much. That's the first time I've heard that in a long time.
You do look great.
So it's formal on the scale of 1 to 10. 10 being black tie, how formal do you think it is?
It should be like a 9.
Okay.
But most guys should come dressed like you. But this is a chance for our girls, especially younger grades who don't have prom, to kind of take it up a notch and dress really classy.
Okay. So we're gonna kick it up a notch.
We should. We have to.
Kicking it. We have to. So can we expect anything different from last year's, previous years?
Not a whole lot. The only difference is we're growing, obviously. I think everybody knows that. So we're going to have extra security, possible drug dog, police, things like that will be.
Breathalyzer test?
No breathalyzer test at this one. That's prom only. So
any specific theme? So no specific theme.
The theme is masquerade.
Okay.
So in theory, we're going to have masks to sell, and girls can bring them as well, too, as can guys. So.
Okay. So thank you so much for being on the
Absolutely.
show today.
Yeah,
thanks for
having
clearing
me.
that up for me. Back to you at the desk.
The debate team recently competed at the Lindell Speech and Debate Tournament. Here in studio with a list of winners and champions is Nate Tompkins.
What's up, guys? I'm Nate Tompkins with your update on winners and champions. Last Saturday at the Lindell Speech and Debate Tournament, Alec Antonikakis placed first in LD debate and fifth in 4 extemporaneous. Zane Smith placed 6th in 4 extemporaneous. He and Jordan Ramsey advanced to quarterfinals in CX debate. Jordan Ramsey also earned the 3rd Best Speaker award in CX debate. Brian Derberry and Emma Herring placed 2nd in CX debate, and Matthew Babylin placed 8th in congressional debate. Lastly, Maya Durham placed 2nd in novice interpretation. She and Brandon Carty placed 6th in duo. Make sure to follow us at Eagle Nation News on Twitter and turn on our post notifications for more updates. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Nate, and congratulations to all those debate winners. Now let's get an update on Prosper Sports.
Prosper Volleyball played McKinney North at home last night, taking them down all 3 sets.
Prosper Tennis was also in action yesterday, defeating the Colony 12-7.
Now let's take a look at the meeting schedule for today. There will be a Genders and Sexualities Alliance meeting after school in room 2233. There will also be a Red Cross meeting after school in room 2224.
And take a look at the schedule for the rest of the week. Prosper Young Life will host their 10th annual Strikes Night on Monday, October 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. The cost is $15 and you must RSVP by October 6th. For questions, see Ms. Cates in room 2232 or Ms. Warner in room 1138.
Celebrate your freedom to read during Banned Books Week. Stop by the library through Friday to enter the Banned Book Week contest.
Today during Eagle Time, all students wishing to sign up for the talent show should report to the LGI at the start of Eagle Time. The LGI will not be used for silent study hall.
Well, that's going to do it for our show today. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Caitlin Wessels.
I'm Casey Boston.
And I'm Jake Fine. Live long and prosper.